Hello again, everyone. It is May 9th, 2025. I'm in Clayville, New York, along the rails of the New York Susquehanna and Western, at approximately the former location of the railroad depot that once stood here. I'm going to tell an interesting story from Doug Ellison's recent book, A Fond Look at Phoebe Snow's Utica Division, about what happened here 155 years ago. Back then, the tracks were operated by the Utica, Chenango and Susquehanna Valley Railroad, and it seems back in February of 1870, the railroad hadn't paid its taxes. So the tax collector here for the village of Clayville, which lies within the town of Paris, it was the town of Paris tax collector, he thought he should do something about it. So on February 4th, he tried to seize the U.S. mail train, also having passengers. But that attempt failed. Not to be thwarted, later on in that evening, he tried again. He arrested the engineer, the brakeman, and the conductor, but somehow the wily railroad crew was able to get away with their train. Well, that next morning, the U.S. Deputy Marshal from Utica, I don't know if it was this guy or not, some of you might recognize him, came up here and arrested the tax collector for obstructing the U.S. mails. He didn't stop there, though, the tax collector. He must have been released on bail or maybe on his own recognizance, because later that same evening, he tried again to seize a train. But that attempt failed. So he thought about it on Sunday. Maybe he went to church to think about what he should do. And on Monday, the 7th of February, 1870, he was busy over that weekend, apparently. He got 100 people to assist him, the tax collector that is, and seized a northbound train. Well, the railroad operator from this very spot telegraphed Utica, got in touch with the railroad president and the United States Deputy Marshal. They came up here on a special train, but guess what? That train and all its occupants were seized again by the rowdy crowd and the what some would probably consider out of control tax collector. So the railroad was able to get another message back to Utica. The problem the railroad had was with all their locomotives and passenger equipment was tied up with these trains, so they had to enlist the help of a neighboring road, the Utica and Black River Railroad. They loaned a locomotive and some passenger equipment. After a delay of 5 hours, they were up here. Now, it's unclear how all this was resolved, but apparently it was resolved, because I don't think there's a 155-year-old tax lien on this property. But later that night, stones were thrown at the next train heading through Clayville. So it's a really interesting story. We'll check how it goes today, see if any problems develop when the northbound freight goes by. And I encourage you, if you haven't purchased Doug's book, to give it some thought. I'll put the information on how to do so in the description. So I hear the southbound freight working its way up Paris Hill's tough grade. I don't see any tax collectors around. Or deputy marshals, although I do see a posse of Canadian geese. They can be pretty nasty, I've heard. But let's keep our eyes peeled for any unhappy citizens or tax collectors. And the posse is heading away. Here comes the southbound. Well, so far, so good. Looks like they're going to make it through Clayville. No train seizure, no rocks thrown. This is Paris Station, about 6 miles down the line from Clayville. Looking down at Lincoln Davies lumber, a fixture here on Paris Hill since the early 1870s. Very close to the summit of Paris Hill, which lies over in that direction, probably about a quarter mile from those buildings. So we'll catch them heading by here. Of course, it's raining. That's all it's been doing lately up here. We're supposed to get a break in the weather in a few days. Next stop, Sangerfield, approximately 7 miles from here, where there are several big feed mills. So from a rainy and cold Paris Station, New York, this is Railroading Rambler saying thanks so much for watching the video. We'll catch you next time, farther on down the line.